You.
All right, here at University of Houston, Emanuel Sharp, putting in the work. Good to see you again, man. Season's still a long ways off, but I love the approach that a lot of programs do it across the country. Kelvin's got that start in June, and you set the standard around here, continue to build a culture. And I asked you, how important is it these particular days during the summer?
It's real important. This is the foundation. Getting a lot of the new guys accustomed to the speed of things and how much work we got to put in. We're in the gym a lot, and it's more than they've ever done in high school. I know that for a fact. But it's important. Like I said, we've all done it. I did it. Marcus Sasser did it. Jamal did it. It's what every team goes through, and it's what makes us great.
How much time have you guys as a group thought about last season, how close you guys got, and how much is that driving you guys now this season?
Every team's different. This team isn't the same as last year's team. But, the only common thing is we all have the same goal, trying to get a national championship. And, that's how it's going to be every year. So, different team, same mindset.
Some new faces are in. It's part of a change every year. You lose some, you gain some. As a veteran player, you've been around this fourth year now.
Yeah.
You got some of these guys. How important is it to use this summer in particular to indoctrinate the new guys to what the standard is?
It's real important. All these guys, they're not used to, college basketball, the physicality of things, how hard you got to play, especially this team in particular. You guys know how Coach Sampson is and how this program is. We play with a different kind of tenacity, a different speed, a different, effort, and it takes getting used to. It took me a while to get up to speed with college, but they're coming along very nicely.
I got to ask you. Early June, I sat down with Kelvin out here in his office in the film room. He generally says he gets excited watching the workouts and guys getting pushed because it's building that mindset. Knowing your coach right there kind of enjoys that stuff.
I'm used to it. I know how Coach Sampson is. By now. I know what he likes. He's one of the most consistent and intense guys I know.
Yeah.
So, I know he enjoys all of that. All adversity, he's all for it. But, like I said, that's what makes us great. The tough workouts, the tough practices, the 4-on-4s, all the physicality in practices, all the, bloody noses, cuts. We that only makes us better. And, he loves it, and we can't ask for more.
What's the one thing or a couple things you did once the season ended that said, hey, I got to get a break from this sport? As much time as you guys give to it.
Just,
break a little bit.
Yeah, sitting down, being, a normal person for a little bit. I was dealing with my foot injury, so, I took a lot of time off in the summer. I had a shot done, helped my foot heal a little faster. Took a break with, Jamal and Ramon, took a vacation. Stayed off social media a lot this summer. But
could you kind of eat what you wanted to eat for just a little while?
Yeah, just cooling out a little bit, just like I said, being regular for a little bit. That's the longest we've ever gone in a tournament run. So, it's weird ending so late, but, it felt good to just finally sit down and, chill for a little bit.
Last question. You trimmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
You said you're 210 currently as we stand here. You want to get down a little bit more.
Yeah.
Why drop the weight? You just feel like being at that weight makes you better play?
Just, to be able to be more mobile, do a lot more running off, screens, pin downs, coming off ball screens, just being able to do that and also being able to guard the other team's best player. I take a lot of pride in my defense. So, being able to be, as great as I can be on defense and then, match that intensity on the offensive end too.
Good to catch up. Emanuel Sharp, Houston Cougs. Good to see you. Thank you, brother.